Alrighty, good evening. It is Worldbuilding Wednesday, and I am feeling much better than I did Monday after both the dentist and doctor's appointment. So let's get a little party started here and do some. Oh, I forgot to left my ceiling lights on. Excuse me. Do some world building. Do some fleshing out of the law enforcement structure in both my fantasy setting and in my sci-fi setting. So, okay, is that enough light? My main litmus test for is that enough light is making sure my forehead doesn't shine because the light in front of me gets annoyingly glaring and I can't handle it. So, anyways, as long as I'm not shining, I'm happy. So, all right, since before I get started, I'll go ahead and follow up. Saturday's stream will not be a game because this is Easter weekend. So I will not be streaming a game Saturday night, D&D game. That will be the following Saturday, which will be what, the 8th? Does that sound right? Sounds close. The 9th. No, that's not right either. The 6th. There we go. Sooner or later I'll get it right here and figure out what day of the week is what. So on the 6th, we'll have a D&D game, as far as I know, barring any, family emergency, sicknesses, whatever, that could occasionally throw a wrinkle in us having enough players. So, speaking of which, if you want to play, I have 3 players at the table. I would love to have 5. So, if you want to join in, please, by all means, reach out to me and let me know. You can reach me at brian@huskyhouserpgs.com. You can message me on Twitch, through my YouTube channel, through my Facebook page, any of those mechanisms. Just reach out to me, let me know you want to play. I'd be glad to help you generate a character, get you up to speed, and find a way to insert you into the existing game campaign. Beyond that, I am looking to put another player group together for alternating weeks because I would like to keep my Saturday stacked with a game every Saturday and then save the world building for Wednesday nights. And then I have another desire to put a sci-fi group together for Monday nights, and that can be either a Starfinder or Traveler campaign, or both if we want to do one of each and alternate those, kind of like I do the D&D parties. So if you're interested in any of those, by all means, please let me know, and I will get you into the sign up. And then if we have more people interested than I have slots for, because I typically like to keep it to 5 to 6 players, then what I'll do is a wait list, and those of you on the wait list will occasionally get to do guest appearances, guest sessions, or games, just to liven things up occasionally and do something besides have NPCs, which, of course I run those, but throwing another person into the fray is always a lot more fun as well. So anyways, so that there is that. Alrighty, so this evening we want to first we want to get Chrome out of the nested loop that I apparently put it in. Lord have mercy. And let's talk about law enforcement, law and order, I guess we will call it. So in a fantasy setting, or at least in my fantasy setting, your laws are typically going to be created by your nobility. And this will be in a kingdom or imperial setting. So that covers my 2 big continents. Or your theocracy. In the case of the Yuan-Ti, their religion is going to be playing a large portion of that. I think that's also going to be true for my Sahagin. And then in the case of my Dragonborn, it's going to be the Council of Elders. Let's see. And, you know, this is going to be true for your elf, and dwarf kingdoms as well. Your nobility is going to do the law, create the laws. But it could also be a council of elders for your elf and dwarves as well. It could be a combined nobility ruling and council co-ruling kind of scenario. What do we think about tabaxi? You know, our two-legged feline counterparts. What kind of power structure would create their laws? Cats aren't pack animals like dogs are. They're very independent. So I'll have to think about that for the tabaxi. Law enforcement hierarchy. Law enforcement hierarchy is going to be, you know, regional / local. So in a nobility type environment, the bottom of the heap is going to be your guards, and then your soldiers. We'll tag those together. But would you have a constabulary, constables? Sheriffs, there's one R in sheriffs. Thank God for spell check. I could also see that there being some specialized enforcement, like your your sword master is going to be in charge of your garrisons, typically in your keeps, as well as your larger towns that keep their own garrisons separate from the nobles' private army. But you're going to have things like your hunt master, which is going to be your equivalent of a game warden. And they would be responsible for dealing with poaching and things of that in the shall we call them the royal forests, just for kicks and grins. How is that going to be determine rank? It's going to be typically your mastery, your masters, mastery / masters, demonstration of skill and command. Yes, you can have a hereditary title and be worthless, but in this case you do not want your standing army to be that way. If you do, you're in trouble. You're going to have your duchies, your dukes, and then your barons. Law enforcement hierarchy. Rank will have to be determined. Now for your actual and then you would have your military structure imposed underneath that. Most of your nobles, at least the male nobles, are going to have some kind of formal education that includes military tactics, as well as doing their time with sword and shield. So that's going to be hereditary for nobles with formal education, training. For others, it's going to be demonstration. If I can spell, demonstration of skill and command. And that's going to apply for both of those. So let's think about the judiciary side of this, where trials held. Well, you know, your nobles, your nobles are going to hold court. A lot of that, depending on the size of the town slash city. In your smaller towns, your barons and your border duchies are going to handle that internally in your smaller locales. In your larger locales, I could see there being a judge appointed. So let's kind of break this up in our thought process. Border, barons, duchies, and barons will hold their own court. Larger locales, you're going to have a judge. Nobility is going to basically preside, as well as in the locations where that is in place. Otherwise, your judge is going to preside. You know, the question of, okay, who determines guilt or innocence? Who's going to determine punishment? That's going to be very, very based on which type of society are we looking at. Are we looking at a human society? Are we looking at an elven or dwarvish society? Are we looking at a Yuan-Ti or Sahagin society? Are we looking at the Dragonborn society? There's going to be different ways of that being addressed. Let's look at this from a cultural standpoint, and maybe I need to revise my who created the laws on that basis. So let's look at, in the case of a human kingdom, you know, we'll say nobility is going to determine, or the judge is going to determine guilt or innocence. In in a theocratic environment, it's going to be your high priest. Because, you know, religious orders are going to have their own structure, right? And I've still got to work up a whole pantheon of deities. Never a dull moment. So that's something I've got to work my way through as well. Who carries out the punishment? This is going to be your sheriff, constabulatory, if I can get it right, or it could be your guards or military. In the case of a theocratic environment, It could be your acolytes carrying out. We're not building prisons. I'm not mirroring the U.S. judicial system. It's a hot mess. Common crimes and punishment. Thievery in all its forms is going to get you probably put on a work gang. Murder is probably going to get you executed. You know, I'm not going to go into all forms of crime and all forms of punishment. Those are probably the low extreme and the high extreme right there. But you know, if you're not paying your taxes, tax evasion, you could end up on a work gang. I don't see the kingdom executing you for that. Now the high priest, if you're not paying the church their appropriate tithes, they might do something a little more extreme. Who knows? That is kind of a basic fleshing out, looking at a couple of societies. E.g., let's put my notes here. You're going to have your sword master, your hunt master, etc. We may have some specialized rangers. Appointed by nobility, but demonstration of skill and command. And then for others, it's going to be the same. It's going to be appointed. By nobility. We're going to say nobility / leadership, because this could apply to your theocratic and your council of elders as well. They could appoint, I could see a dwarven council appointing their war chief, or elven council appointing their war leaders of their various elven societies. So just some thought process going in there to kind of think it through. Just me thinking. Let's see. Does that cover kind of the foundation of where I want to go? I'm thinking if I'm missing anything there that I might want to... Well, there's always room to add later, right? So this is kind of my thinking in my fantasy world of how I'm going to build out the law and order, the structure of law and order. Larger locales will have a court and a judge. The temple will have, sometimes it's going to be your high priest, sometimes it's going to be a designee. And apparently I'm spelling priest wrong, that I'm upsetting spell check, so let me fix that. Okay. All right. think that's a pretty good roundup for fantasy settings. Let's play with some theoreticals here. So your dragonborn society is kind of like your dwarven society in that they are very clannish. So each clan is going to have a designated elder, and in the case of our dragonborn society, each uh, clan elder is a member of the council of elders. So they're going to determine what laws are in effect. And then in their case, since this is a scholarly society, I'm guessing we're still going to have a constabulary or a sheriff designated for populated areas, or hunt masters or sword masters, depending on how they want to. I want to structure that. I could see them having judges. I could see them maybe being scholarly, even designating juries for some crimes. Now, I don't see the nobility going that far because the nobility doesn't want to get into a situation where they've given the common folk so much power that a noble is being tried and convicted by a group of commoners. They're just not going to want to have that happen. So, in that case, you may be dealing with a situation more along the lines of a Congress of Lords, especially as you get closer to the higher levels of power in a kingdom-type structure, a monarchy, or an empire, an imperial court, that the Congress of Lords would be responsible for trying and determining punishments for a noble embroiled in something heinous. So, they're more about, in my mind, at least in the larger duchies, that's going to be more court intrigue than outright hostilities, although matters of honor can still be settled with a duel, right? So, just things I'm kind of bouncing around in my noggin and thinking about. Just all that bouncing around up there. Okay, let's go digress. In my sci-fi world, we're dealing more with a republic form of government, a democratic form of government. So it's going to be, there's not going to be your nobility, but you're going to have your congressional leadership. At the federal and regional level. Law enforcement hierarchy is going to still rely heavily on sheriff and constabulary, but you're also going to have specialized agencies, what would be akin to our Federal Bureau of Investigation, or maybe your Texas Rangers, or things of that nature. How it is achieved. Okay. Your rank. Okay, you're going to have your officers, your agents, etc. We probably follow a military type structure here. Local is going to be your sheriff, constabulary, regional is going to be your, what would be our equivalent to your National Guard, your Reserve Guard, like the Texas National Guard. your rangers, etc. And then at your federal, this is going to be your FBI level type, FBI type institutions. All of these are going to follow a similar structure. I'm not going to get excessively crazy with this. I'm not building a society based on the U.S. Criminal justice system simply because the U.S. incarcerates way too many people for the stupidest of reasons, or what shouldn't be an incarcerated offense. So it's going to be at a court, going to be at a judge, there who presides. It's going to be a judge. Depending on what type of court we're looking at, we could be judge and or jury. Same for, my dogs are outside. Who carries out punishment? Local or regional authorities. Local or regional jails. We're not trying to build the American criminal justice system. For murder, I'll have to think about this. Are we doing capital punishment or life imprisonment? We're just going to say imprisonment. Imprisonment. That's a question mark. That's not a decision. That's a I need to think about that and come back to that kind of scenario. Because I don't really have an answer. Alrighty. Alright, that's, I think, as much as I want to flesh out detail on this. I think more of this will get fleshed out as I'm writing sessions, because some of it's going to vary depending on which government we're dealing with, whether it's a dwarvish clan, an elven council, or a human noble's court. It's going to be probably determined at the time of writing more than anything else, and could vary from kingdom to empire or from duchy to barony, in my mind. So I'm not going to lock myself into stone here. I'm going to give myself some maneuverability and kind of let it be at that. Next session we'll be dealing with economy. And then following, well, is there anything I want to look at here today? Probably not. Currency, distribution of wealth, wages. See, I'm not going to get into that average wage crap. I will get into the cost of meals and etc., just because that's going to be factoring on players. You know, when you're traveling, what's it going to cost to eat or stay someplace? Some of this other might be getting a little too granular for now, and may be more of a story writing opportunity than it is a world building writing requirement in Brian's mind. Alrighty. I think I've exhausted all of the law and order I can put on pen and paper this evening, just bouncing it around. Let's move on and have some chat about Starfinder build out, huh? I've been doing this for quite a bit in my D&D campaign, and I definitely want to keep it going in my Starfinder side as well. So, what are we looking at? Planetary economic situation. That isn't a mouthful. I do not know what is. More random table goodness. And equally dry. Okay. Oops, that's supposed to be a 12. There we go. The Basic Agricultural Society. Casinos and entertainment. Okay. Why does it have to be green energy? It is warm in this house. I'm fixing to have to adjust the air. Illegal items. Livestock and fish exports. Actually, this is going to be a D20. Pharmaceutical research. Okay. Let's change this die type. Clear it. Make it a 20-sider. $19 and $20. Okay. How do you base an entire planetary economy on linguistic services? Robotics. 15. Oh yeah, a whole planet full of hackers. Isn't this kind of redundant with military equipment? I guess it could be a little more generic. Okay. Okay, there we go. Real short and sweet table with a D4. It's declining. Is reliable and stable. Is fluctuating and unpredictable. Is rapidly improving. There we go. Okay. How about planetary wealth? Gonna make this a four-sider? Sure. And then I guess I need to add some rows. Hey, Rocky. Okay. It's kind of a weird table, but we'll go with it. Planetary, economic concerns. Okay, 10-sider. Let's see. Restrict, laws, government coups, welcome to Texas, rising prices, dwindling resources, corporate sabotage, spell it right, Brian. Worker shortages, growing unemployment. Let's just flip that coin. Long working hours, or rumors of wars. Okay. Lock it and roll it. Okay. Tell you what, I've got dogs outside, so I've got to go deal with the back door. If you will give me just a moment, I am going to come back in about 5 minutes after I get dogs rounded up and whatnot. In just a second. I'm actually going to go a little bit longer than 5 minutes just because. Let's do 9. Let's do 10. So that I have time to have the dogs do what I need to do. Sorry about that, but I will be right back. Alrighty, let me get back in here and let's get back to this building. Sorry, had to go take care of dogs and a few other little details that interrupted the stream, and got that out of the way, so now we can get back here and spend some time building out some more. Alrighty. Planetary attractions. Let's not get crazy with this one. Figure 8 will do it. Okay, not a visible die roll. Glittering sunsets caused by atmospheric microparticles akin to our volcanic dust, making our sunsets red. Preserved town containing relics civilization annual festivals that is famous for unique traditions, atmosphere, food, and dress. Okay. Spaceship. Oops, caps lock got hit. Guess if I'm going to throw a period on the sentence, I better do the common thing here, right? You don't go to Hamburg to get a hamburger, though. Some extreme sports in the mountains. Stunning plant, a stunning palace. Originally built by a maverick billionaire. Yep, we're waiting for Fort Musk to be built, aren't we? Circle of 30-foot tall, glowing crystal obelisks that shift colors in seemingly random patterns. Okay. So we did planetary attractions. Now let's do the flip side of that and do planetary risks. Same thing, let's use a D8. Okay. Numero uno. Night falls quickly, and a strict curfew is imposed after dark. Are you running a military or theocratic society? Skilled pickpockets. Target visitors at common arrival and departure points. That sounds like a local law enforcement problem. Segments of society. Reject certain forms of technology and will try to destroy them. Wearing specific colors can affiliate you with a gang and draw the ire of their rivals. We're going to LA. Okay. How stupid of us. Tipping culture is complicated. And getting it wrong can get you in serious trouble. Shit, we have this problem today. We have a lot of these problems today. Why are they drawing from the existing world? Two almost identical plant species grow here. One is used for healing, and the other is poisonous. Let's go to Australia where everything is trying to kill us. Air quality is unstable and can quickly become toxic. How do you explain that unless you're in an industrial society? Busy routes have force fields to repel predatory beasts, but smaller paths do not. Okay. Just for kicks and grins, right? Okay. Planetary breaking news. Let's have some fun here. These could be fun for just story or session starters. Just a totally improv a session for kicks and giggles, right? We're going to make this a big table. Is that 20 or more? I might have got click happy. Nope, looks like I hit it on the money. I tried. Demo of a new affordable teleportation device results in the splicing of its inventor. Well, there goes the transporter tech. Spaceport guard. finds a winning lottery ticket during a routine bin search. We should be so lucky. Stock prices soar as the CEOs of two huge corporations prepare to get married. Okay. We need to make this is going to be a big table, so let's kind of space it out a little more to give me a little more typing room. Planetary leader celebrates their 19th term in office with a global fireworks display. The narcissism in that is crazy. Activist groups target hyperspace fuel firm responds by raising prices. Yeah, that's businesses, you know, plan one anytime anything happens these days, right? Significant solar flares are predicted. Citizens advised to take protective measures. Xenoarchaeologist announce they have found the lost treasure of an ancient people. That'll trigger an adventure, because you know your party's going to want to go check that shit out. As an interplanetary war enters its third decade, the draft for new soldiers has begun. You might get put into a press gang. Elderly artist dies. That's kind of boring. Bizarre cult predicts the end of the universe for the third time this year. Okay. Malfunctioning robot goes haywire. Sports robot. Malfunctioning sports robot goes haywire and begins throwing equipment at players. Famous actor storms out of a premiere, steals a fan's transportation, and disappears. 13. 8th vessel goes missing in a patch of space known as the silent aperture. I could have some fun with that, some navigation. Energy drink brand recalls products after they are found to be highly radioactive, or let's add mutagenic. Just to spice things up a little bit. Politician hires an uninhabited beach planet as a venue for their birthday party. That's not something a politician's going to do. We're going to say a celebrity. 16. Rival leaders need to sign a historic treaty. Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall. Putin's wishing he could rebuild it. Volcanic eruption causes intermittent power failures. Failures, if I can type, across the planet. B, successfully taught to speak, read, and write. Tells journalist to buzz off. Bump. Formerly extinct apex predator revived through genetic trials. Shades of Jurassic Park. Comet confounds scientists. When it suddenly changes travel direction. Big table. Okay. Let's see. Planetary fugitives. Planetary criminal offenses. Planetary penalties and sanctions. Hacked intel. Yeah, I don't want to build that table. Not right now. That needs to go someplace else other than planetary. Crime and punishment. I'll save that. Offenses, penalties and sanctions. Trading posts. Shop descriptions. Repair stations. Garage descriptions. Bars and dives. See, this goes more from planetary to more like city type environment. So I might break this up into a separate function. But I think I'm going to take a break from this tonight. Let me put my page marker in my document. As I figure out where it went. Did I lose my page marker in this one? I'll think about that. So, honestly, I'm fading fast, so I think I'm going to call this stream to an end tonight. And we'll pick this up again next week. Actually, I'm probably going to build out some more Starfinder on Monday after Easter, just so to give you all a heads up. That'll be April 1st. I'm not doing anything for April Fool's Day as far as the stream. I'm not doing anything weird. That's going to be the disclaimer I file now. We'll see whether it's true or not, or if I don't come up with if I come up with something, maybe that'll change. But for now, we'll let it go. Again, no game Saturday, so we will be doing some streaming. I'm probably, since Twitch is going to be discontinuing the watch party, I'll probably do a watch party for episodes 10, 11, and 12 of Vox Machina Season 1, just so we can finish Season 1 before Twitch pulls the plug on the watch party functionality. Or I might do a little world building, who knows. Maybe on the D&D side, since I've got a lot going on there as well. So, as always, appreciate you tuning in tonight. Thank you very much. And if you're new and you like what you see, want to see more of what's going on, and get some ideas for building your own gaming environment, hit that follow button, turn on notifications so that you know when I'm live. And other than that, we will see you next time. Thanks for tuning in, and have a great evening.